Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to be taking a look at a new Duskull. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We looked at Dusk Noir the other day, and I said Dusk Noir was kind of cool. And kind of good. I worried that it didn't do quite enough damage, and it was better when it got KO'd. The ability is literally spell tag. When it gets KO'd, you put 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way that you like. And the attack is literally Metagross's attack. 60 damage this turn, but as long as you used it the previous turn, then you're going to be hitting 120 from here on out. I said it was fine. I worried that it was a bit slow and a bit weak. And then this Duskull got revealed today, and now we have to think of it a little bit differently. Because you see, this Duskull lets you cheat evolution. Although, to be fair, this Duskull is not just for Dusk Noir decks. Now, if we have a look at the basics of Duskull, 40 HP is terrible. It is down there with Ditto Prism Star. Does mean you can search it out with Professor Owl's Lecture, but then we got the weakness to Darkness, and you got a whole bunch of stuff like Evil Tal, etc., that will go right through you. The resistance to fighting is quite nice, but again, you've got 40 HP. And a retreat cost of 1 is quite nice, although to be honest, you should never really be retreating this. But you see, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, maybe you attach a spell tag and it gets KO'd and you get to use it, etc. But really, what we're liking with this Duskull is the ability. The Duskull's ability is great. Once during your turn, you may discard 3 cards from your hand. If you do, search your deck for a card that evolves from this Pokemon and put it onto this Pokemon to evolve it. That is just a flat evolution straight off the bat. Now, our translation here today comes from the lovely Antoine Boulet, who has been tweeting at me some translations lately. And Antoine, hopefully you're listening to this. You are a lovely man, and I appreciate it greatly. But I did make sure to look, and Antoine has been extremely clear. This does allow for a turn 1 evolution. So you can evolve this immediately. You can just play it down, evolve it. Play it down, evolve it. Now, only up to Dusclops, not up to Dusk Noir, which is a bit of a pain. But then it's essentially turning Dusk Noir into a stage 1 rather than a stage 2. And now we look at the large HP and the fun ability and the otherwise underwhelming attack, and we're like, well, hang on a second. This changes everything. On a stage 1, this might actually be genuinely relevant. We can use this on a stage 1. Now, you've got to discard 3 cards from your hand, but as we'll look at that in a minute, it's actually, in a lot of situations, an advantage. But the fact of the matter is, cheating evolution is good. We've seen Miss Magius being good lately with Duskstone that can cheat evolution. We saw Wally and Trevenant being, well, borderline unfair a little while ago, to the point it literally got Wally banned. Now, it doesn't always work. Shinx lets you evolve into Luxio straight away. To be fair, only on 1 turn if you go second, but still lets you cheat the evolution. And Luxio seemed like it was going to be good with its item locking attack, and it never worked, ladies and gentlemen. It never actually worked, and that was a little bit sad. It just never ended up being good enough. Well, here, if you like Dusk Noir, you're good. And here's the thing. The Dusk Noir that we're getting in this set, okay, fine, it's not phenomenal. But we're going to have this for a while. And we've got it in expanded. And now, all of a sudden, it's a kind of card that makes you go and look at all of your previous Dusk Noir and go, well, hang on a second. Can we do something with this? Can we turn this into a better card? Can we turn this into a deck that's going to actually win? Maybe have a look at the one from Boundaries Cross that rotated out to Standard, frankly, a long time ago. But as often as you like, you may move 1 damage counter from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another. Kind of like Tapu Lele's attack, except whenever you like. I'm not saying that this instantly becomes great, but I'm saying that an ability like this is now more viable because of this Duskull. It means you can play a 1-1-1 line and you don't have to muck about with rare candy, whereas usually a 1-0-1 line with 1 rare candy, you're just never going to find it. Here, your Duskull can be searched out with something like Professor Round's Lecture or an expanded Nest Ball. And then at some point you discard 3 cards from your hand and search out your Dusclops, and then at some point you evolve it up. That is a whole heap easier to get into play than the Rare Candy way. I'm not saying this is instantly going to make every Dusk Noir amazing, but I am saying that every Dusk Noir and Expanded we need to take a slightly different look at now. And I'm saying that this one that's coming out in the same set that's coming out in Remix Bout, maybe it's a lot better now than it was because of this ability. I adore abilities that can cheat evolution. But here's the thing. It's not just that. Because you get to discard 3 cards from your hand. So what you could do is just literally not play any Dusclops. And just play a Duskull here with the ability, once during your turn you may discard 3 cards from your hand. And make no mistake about it, discarding cards from your hand can be amazing. We see in Standard at the moment, we've got that Zoroark that does more damage depending on how many Pokemon you've got in the discard pile. This is going to help you out. You've got a Alolan Executor that does extra damage for each different type of basic energy in your discard pile. Well, you can now use a Lady to search for 4, and then maybe discard 3 of them with Duskull, 1 of them with Viridian Forest, while then searching out a 5th type. And now, ladies and gentlemen, now we're rolling. And sure, you can use Zebstrika to discard cards and draw you a new hand of 4. But sometimes Zebstrika, you're ending up discarding cards you don't want to discard. Zebstrika's an all or nothing. This is discard free. It's awesome. There are so many decks that want to discard cards. I mean, if we go into Expanded, how about something like Vespiquen or Flareon? Now, it's kind of weird because we're getting to the point with that deck where there's so many helpful cards like Unknown, for instance, that we're getting to a stage where extra Pokemon are going to have to be redonk to actually make it into the deck because we've got so many good options at the moment. But this one might just be good enough. Having the opportunity to immediately discard any free Pokemon from your hand to do an extra 30 damage, that could be a KO where you would otherwise not be getting a KO. I mean, what this could do is just do silly little things like emptying out your hand a little bit so that when you play a Miss Magius to draw until you've got 7 cards in hand, you're drawing more. Or pre-rotation / in Expanded, something like a Rangaroo, now you're drawing till 3 cards in hand, but you can use Duskull to discard 3 cards you don't want to then draw extra cards when you use an ability that draws until you've got X cards in hand. Or maybe something like Granbull, you use this to just empty out your hand. Maybe Granbull, you just play 1 of these, you whack it on the bench, so that if you've got 3 cards in hand or fewer, you just use Duskull to clear your hand. And then you can attack for free because you've got 0 cards in hand. As a Pokemon that can accelerate your evolution into Dusk Noir, it's amazing. But as a Pokemon that can just discard 3 cards from your hand, it's amazing. No, not every deck is going to want to do that. But how many times have you been playing a Malamar deck, got the Malamar out and had energy in hand that you have no way of discarding? And bearing in mind when the rotation hits, we're losing Ultra Ball, which is one of the best ways we've got to discard from our hand at the moment. Do you see where we're going with this, ladies and gentlemen? This is a really good Pokemon. I'm giving it 4 Wassies, and honestly, that might be... It might be a little bit, well, it might be mean. It is rare that I look at an evolving Pokemon and give it its own video, because usually, frankly, it's not worth looking at them. I showed you a Ponyta the other day that was the very first card from a new artist, but it wasn't worth talking about in its own video. This, oh my goodness, it is. This is going to make its way into decks. Some people are going to have an absolute field day with this card, and there are so many different things you can do with discarding 3 cards from your hand. Even if no one ever uses this to evolve up into Dusk Noir, just being able to discard 3 cards from your hand is awesome. Although, incidentally, I've done a video about Dusk Noir, link in the description. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to know what you think about this. So please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.